Hey, it's Kelly, your manager CE on Team Gold Diggers, and I just wanted to share a little bit about myself and my why, and how I found out about Trades of Hope, why I decided to join, what keeps me motivated to keep going. And when you finish watching this video, or even as you're watching this video, I would love to hear your why. I would love to know what it was that piqued your interest in Trades of Hope, why you decided to join, and what's been your motivator so far in getting started. This video is particularly for those of you who are just getting started in Trades of Hope, but I'll also be sharing it on our main team page. And as I want to hear from all of you about your why. And please feel free to give me a call or send me an email. I want to get to know you ladies. I also want to give you the opportunity to get to know me a little bit. So my story starts, my husband and I sold everything we owned when we're trying to sell our house, but weren't able to, so rented it out, and we were living overseas, a place in Central Asia. And we were working over there with a well-known organization teaching English, and while we were over there, we had our first child, and when she was about 10 months old or so, my husband was injured and he was going to need back surgery, and we had to come back to the States, and it was really unexpected. Like I said, we had sold everything that we owned, and we had renters in our house that had just signed a one-year lease. So we didn't have a place to live, we didn't have any possessions, my husband wasn't able to work, and we were needing to come off of funding. And I had fallen in love with the place that we had moved to and the people that we had met, and was having a really hard time being back in the States, knowing for a bunch of details that I won't go into at this point, but just knowing that we weren't going to be going back anytime soon, if ever. And so I had just a really hard time, really for a long time. But the first couple of weeks especially, I was in denial that we had to leave our beautiful new home and the work that we were doing there, and now my husband couldn't even work and I was going to have to work, and I had this 10-month-old baby and I didn't want to put her in daycare, and I didn't want to have to go back to work full-time and leave her. And so I took a few part-time jobs. One of those was cleaning toilets, and nobody wants to do that for the rest of their lives. Props to those people who do, but it just wasn't in me. I had this desire and this pull. I wanted to be part of something bigger. I wanted to have more purpose, and at the end of the day, I wanted to know that even if I was exhausted, it was for more reason than cleaning other people's homes and coming home in tiny living space being dirty, because I didn't even have the energy to clean that little bit of a space and still have time for my husband and my daughter. So enter Trades of Hope. And it's a fun roundabout way that I even heard about it, but after hearing about it, I was talking to Christy, who's my sponsor, and emailing back and forth, and I don't remember all the questions we asked or how long of a time I actually was considering it and praying about it. It felt like a really long time, but I think it was just a span of a few days. But it was all I could think about. But I just didn't know if in that time of us hardly having any money, if I could really make an investment, would I really be able to sell anything? And my husband even said, you know what, if this is something you feel like you need to do, then that's fine, but I think everything's just going to sit on our shelves and you're never going to sell anything. I wasn't sure. I doubted myself greatly. And so I was talking to Christy, and in one email she told me the story about the artisans in Haiti and how they're faced with the decision to even have to give up their children completely, not just maybe have to go back to work full time and give them up for 40 hours a week, but they don't have any job opportunities, and that they are faced with the decision to possibly give up their children completely. And I thought, wow, here I am just not wanting to put my child in daycare. So if I have the opportunity to help mothers be able to keep their children, then I'm going to do that. I want to do that. And I signed up that very night. That was in August 16th of 2013. So it's been almost 3 years, and in that time I've been able to go to every retreat. The very first retreat was the January after I joined, and at that point I had 2 CEs on my team. I think they had probably recruited a couple of women themselves. The only CE on my team that went with me was my mom, and she's actually the one who talked me into going to that first retreat. She was my very first CE. She's actually the one who introduced me to Trades of Hope and said, this is what you need to do. And she's been my biggest cheerleader and supporter ever since, my mom, Beth Bushnell. So we went to the very first retreat, and I was completely honored and very moved to be awarded one of 3 Inspiring Women awards at that very first retreat. My mom nominated me. Now, I don't know how many people were nominated. Maybe the 3 of us who won were the only ones nominated. I don't know. But I do know that in that moment, standing up there on the stage with our founders, who I just met and hardly knew really anything about besides the little bit of information in our back office. And I'm standing up there, and my story is being read, and these words that I know that my mother wrote them, and I can just hear her pride for me in those words. Talking about how I didn't want to go back to a job in law enforcement or in probation like I had done before, and while I loved that work, I wanted to be home for my daughter. And not only did I want to be home and available for my daughter, I wanted other women to be able to be empowered to make the same decision, to have that opportunity. And I just started crying as I heard these words being read by Gretchen, I believe, and I felt very honored and very humbled, and I knew, even though I was still greatly missing our work overseas in Central Asia, that I knew that I had found my new purpose and my new mission. And I was so thankful to God for giving me such a great gift and giving me the opportunity to be a part of such a great company as Trades of Hope. So since then, since that first retreat, I've gone to the subsequent retreats that we've had, and even was able to make the very first leadership retreat by some miracle. It was just, again, God affirming that this is what He has for me, this is the purpose that He has, and that He has set me in this company as a foundational leader, and I'm so proud of that role and of that responsibility, and I want to keep growing in that way. In a company, in a business like this, it's very easy to be top one day and bottom the next, but I don't want my passion to wane. I don't want my efforts to stop. I want to continue to be in the best. And just as a side note, I don't wear scarves, and I'm really kind of distracted by this, in addition to my red lipstick and my pink nails, and just throwing this together because my child's still napping and I didn't have anything else to do. And so that's just me. I'm getting very distracted by my nails and my lips, and you guys can laugh, but whatever. So I'm going to stop messing with my scarf. You're just going to have to, it's just, I don't really wear scarves. But I've I'm not even really a huge jewelry person, but I've come to love so much about this company, including the jewelry and the scarves and trying different things. And sometimes I can be that person that you're like, I'm not sure that really goes well together, Kelly. Maybe you should try something else. So some of you are awesome at pairing pieces together and always look so good together. One of the CEs that I've come to know and love, who is so always put together, is Katie Nutter, and she was the second CE to join my team, and I've grown to be so fond of her and so proud of her. And along with my mom, Katie has just been a really huge encouragement to me in keeping me motivated and keeping me humbled, because she's a superstar CE, guys. She's so on top of it. If you are on her branch, if you're one of her direct sponsors or somebody on her success line, you have got such a great leader in Katie, and such a good example of somebody who knows the business backwards and forwards. She's learning as new things come along. She's overcoming obstacles, helping her hostesses and her customers and those of you on her team to overcome obstacles. Really proud of her and the strides that she's made and the ways that she's grown her business. Looking forward to her getting back from her vision trip to Costa Rica. I'm excited for the growth on her team. Excited to see her hit manager one day, no doubt, in the very near future. But in addition to my reason for joining, those of you on my team are what keep me motivated to keep going. I'm not perfect at this work by any means. I've learned a lot along the way and would love to share my experiences with you. But what I love about this business is we each get to make it our own. We each get to put our own personality into it. Some of us may be more business-minded than others. Like Katie just really took the business side of it, and I need to see, like, okay, maybe I need to be paying more attention to these things that I really don't consider. My mom is very much that keep me going kind of person, and also on Katie's downline, Kim is just a huge, and all of you ladies are amazing and have a really great strength, and I'm super proud of you all. But Kim, I met at the second retreat, and I don't even know if we talked on the phone, but we corresponded and stuff, and I was really excited to meet her, and we shared a room along with my mom at retreat. Had a really great time, just fell in love with that lady, such a godly lady, just such a good wife and mom, and such an amazing, compassionate entrepreneur. Her and Katie are going to hit manager and director together, I know it. So those are just a couple of the rock stars on our team for you all to be looking to and to model your businesses after, to be going to for advice, as well as Adrienne, who's growing a really good branch under her and growing some really strong leaders like Julia and Rebecca. And I'm very excited to see where all of you go in your business. Retreat, all the information for it is out, and tickets are being purchased, and the Inspire Retreat is going to be the best yet, and it is a really good way to connect with this sisterhood, to meet our founder, which just gives you more confidence in this business. Speaking of confidence in this business, Veronica Martinez has a really great call about confidence. Listen to it. So I would just encourage you to be considering retreat. But it's just a little bit about me, my why, and what's kept me motivated. And I'd love to hear from you guys, your why, and get to know your stories a little bit more. And so you can leave those below, or email me, or give me a call.